right, we're back on this, why do I keep forgetting the name of this Honda Element? That's right, Honda Element. So you see we went up to 453 PSI and you can hear the compressor kick out. Doesn't sound like it's happy. Now the only difference is, remember the previous 5 or 6 videos on this car? Let's see, I took out, our refrigerant I took out. Let's see, we started at, my tank was at 9,426 grams. When I recovered the refrigerant, the tank weighed 9,723 grams. That's a total of 297 grams. This was supposed to have 500 to 550 grams in it. Well, I got 550 grams in it, but now it goes to 4 something. Now, what did I tell you I found on this vehicle before? One fan not working. Let me take it back to idle. And remember, before it was only 230 some PSI and like 30 on the low side. See, now we could see this is the temperature. It got down to 43 degrees, and then the high pressure cutout started cutting out the compressor. Now we're ever climbing. So let's take it off of 1700 RPMs. We'll put it back to this 422, 35 on the low side. Now this would not have been caught by somebody before because this only came in with a relay out. So the relay was out, causing the no AC. But then I noticed the pressure was 203, 230 something. A lot of guys go, that's normal. 30 on the low side, that's normal. It got down to 38 degrees coming out of the dash. Supposedly by experts on Facebook and YouTube say that's normal. But what did I notice? I noticed a high superheat. So I was taking the superheat and I go, the superheat's high. But it was coming out at 38 degrees out of the dash. But wait a minute. I go, maybe this is one of those fan systems where one fan comes on, then it hits a high pressure switch, and when it gets over, say 270, it kicks on the auxiliary fan. But I didn't read about the system, but what I did do is I looked at the number of wires in here. I go, oh, wait a minute, there's only 2 wires here. Doesn't sound like a smart system. Usually smart systems with 3 or 4 wires will have that feature. I'm still not going to read the operation of instruction on this manual. I'm just going to go off of instinct. I'm going to wing it, and I'm going to go, I think that should be on. But on top of that, you see this fine dust? On the other videos, I showed the filter looks perfectly clean. But because of this talcum powder kind of dust, it fills the gaps between the threads, the fine fiber hairs. It fills in between. It clogs up the filter, but the filter looks totally clean because of this fine dust. So there was air restriction, but we still had the bad fan. So I went, disconnected the fan. I proved it was getting power. It's not coming on. I proved that my instinct told me that even though it was getting 38 degrees out of the dash, sitting in the sun right here, that it was low because of superheat. Well, look at the superheat now. Look at that nice high pressure. Isn't that what some of you guys like to see in Texas and some of the hot places, Utah and stuff like that? That's normal to you. Well, we're in San Francisco. And the temperature here right now, when I was first taking film earlier, was 68 degrees. Now it's 73, 74. But that high side pressure to me didn't look right. And that's going off pressures, and I should not diagnose by pressures. But this is an expansion valve system. And there's going to be some wise guys out there who read books, and they're professionals, and they've went to school, and they've been 20, 30, 40 years in the business, and they go, well, on expansion valve systems, you use the high side and you use the temperature of the liquid line, and you go off subcooling. Superheat is no way to diagnose a expansion valve, because superheat is for orifice tube systems, piston tube systems, capillary tube systems, and you use subcooling for expansion valve systems like this guy hidden, he's way the hell back in that little cubby hole right there, the expansion valve. But no, I used superheat, and I was able to tell the system was low. And like we see, we had 297 grams in the system out of 550 but it was still getting 38 degrees Fahrenheit coming out of the dash, which right now we're at idle. I got 46 degrees Fahrenheit because we're going up almost to 400 PSI. So now we have a problem that, and most people go, oh, 46 sitting here in the sun, that's good too. But no, we had that fan problem. But that was also being masked by the airflow problem with those filters, these plug filters. These are almost completely plugged filters. You go, oh my God, I don't see nothing. You're crazy, you can't sell those filters. Yes, those are completely plugged with a fine talcum powder dust inside, between the grains, between the threads of the fibers that you can almost not see with your eyes, restricting the flow. So I'll see you guys later. And for the super genius guys who've been doing it for 20 or 30 years, who keep telling me they're going to diagnose off pressures, well, we had a good example here of multiple problems that made a low system appear as it was almost operating normally. But after filling it up, that's definitely not the case. See you guys later.